nation. Hebrew kingdom building.
My soul belongs to you. 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 Focus on Yahusha, not the distractions. My soul belongs to you. My soul belongs to you. My soul belongs to you. Soul belongs to you. My 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 soul belongs to you. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Just need to quiet your soul for a second. Quiet your soul. Calm your nefesh. I know we've just been eating and talking and kind of loud, but and talking and kind of getting and communicating and socializing. I want you to quiet your nefesh so you can focus. Go focus on what we're about to get into. So when you join with Yahusha, your desires change. Your nefesh changes. The things that you desire before, you're not worried about no more. The things that you weren't worried about before, now you through with. I remember before I joined myself with Yahusha fully, I couldn't do praise and worship music. The only thing I could do was rap and R&B. I didn't have no time or taste for praise and worship music. I couldn't do it. I had no taste for it. Then my nefesh changed to where I had to have that worship time. I had to be able to take time apart to worship Yahuwah to some worship music. And I find worship music as being some of my favorite music now. I didn't like sermons when I didn't listen to sermons growing up when I was young at church. Only when grandma and them pulled me to church on Yom Rishon. Actually, it was really Sunday at that time. It was. But now, even in my spare time, I'm listening to different teachings and sermons. Your nefesh changes. You start to have a desire for the things of Yahuwah. That's because your soul belongs to Yahuwah. Your soul belongs to Yahusha. That's why. But what if you still, your soul is battling between the things of Yahuwah and the things of the world still? That's that battle. That's that fight that you got to be diligent about. That's that fight. But what the Most High has been very clearly saying, he said that real clear today, but it's been saying for a while, I submit. I actually heard it in prayer maybe a couple of days ago. But that your soul belongs to him. Your soul belongs to him. Let's go to Revelation 18 real quick. I say we love you. I say we love you. I say we love you. All right. All right. You ready? Are everybody there? Revelation 18.
Come.
All right, let's start with verse 1. Let's get it.
Come. Revelation chapter 18, verse 1.
So this is about Babylon, okay? Go ahead.
After these things, I saw another Malach coming down from the Shamayim, having great authority, and the Eretz was illuminated with his kabod. And he cried mightily with a loud voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become a dwelling place of demons.
Of what?
A dwelling place of demons.
Now y'all see why so many ruachs out here. That is what Babylon is. It's a dwelling place for all kinds of demons. All kinds. That's how you know this is Babylon. Keep going.
A prison for every foul ruach, and a cage for every unclean and hated bird.
Man, look, keep going.
For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
Do y'all remember what I was talking about? I believe it was last week of how America's the #1 exporter of pornography in the world. And so there was nations that wasn't dealing with none of that stuff until America came in and basically conquered them and or dismantled their government. Then all of a sudden now this stuff is coming in their countries and stuff. Keep going.
The kings of the Eretz have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the Eretz have become rich through the abundance of her luxury.
Through the what?
The abundance of her luxury.
Do you know that Eden means luxury? Remember we talked about that last week? Eden means luxury. And that, again, that goes back to the white horse and the car, the whole thing, revelation is surrounding the car. So things are switching. The balances are being balanced out. Things are changing. There's a shift. Things are shifting. That's the best word to put it. Things are shifting. Because the nations became rich for the abundance of the luxury of Babylon. And the way that they become rich, they have to commit fornication with her, though. What does that mean? That they have to take in some of the wickedness of Babylon. Let me give y'all an example. What is one of the most controversial things that America's pushing to the African nations right now? Actively. You was gonna say that? Hey, go ahead. Everybody know it, huh? Everybody know it.
Double honors to you and Mashallah. I was just texting that in the thing. It's the LGBT agenda.
Yeah. Oh, that's a car. He all right. He threw. But no, let me tell you something. We're not talking about like indirectly pushing that stuff through media and stuff. No, they literally sending presidents and ambassadors going over there saying, hey, y'all need to loosen up on y'all LGBT laws. Right. They literally sending ambassadors, presidents, vice presidents, and they're going and speaking with the presidents over there in the different nations in Africa and tell, because y'all know Africa's like the only one, that's how you know those are Hebrews. Africa is pretty much one of the only places in the world, other than the Muslim countries, though, that they just don't do that. They just don't deal with none of that. They just don't deal with it at all. Like the only place in Africa right now that I believe has like real open like marital laws, I should say, is South Africa, which is pretty much they're a European nation. As far as generally speaking, I know that's complicated, but still in South Africa, the people that really run South Africa, because those are the rich and the wealthy, are really it's still Englishmen, the English there. Yeah, they still colonize it, even though I know Nelson Mandela, I know the history, but it's still it still ain't like ran by the natives, I guess I should say. They're not the ones with the power, with the money. So. Oh yeah. Yeah, they serious. Yeah, so, and that's the thing, so that's the way it works. Hey, y'all gonna have to adopt some of our ideas. Y'all gonna have to loosen up on it. Because this is what they're saying in it. This is what they're saying indirectly. That's going to affect that's going to affect the aid we sending to you. That's going to, you see what I'm saying? That's the part they don't say in the news. Yeah, that's going to affect how we move. We sending you all this money. We giving you all this aid. Well, that's crazy anyway, because they stealing way more than they giving. So they stealing all the real wealth. And then they'll drop proof from the helicopters and say, but now we giving you aid. I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole thing right there. But that's Babylon is what I'm saying. What we're reading about, that's Babylon. That's Babylon. They export their ways to the world. All the nations have drunk of the wine of the fornication of Babylon. Because then their merchants can benefit from the abundance of the luxury. See what I'm saying? This is all economical, about economics. This is all about trade, buying and selling. This is all about all of that. The stuff we think ain't in the scriptures, we think that's worldly. Talking about doing business and things like that. That's what this all in there. Let's keep going.
Verse 4. And I heard another voice from the Shamayim saying, come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive of her plagues.
Listen, y'all, listen. That's why it is through that our soul belongs to Yahuwah.
Hallelujah.
That's why that is a through thing. Don't the scriptures say that you belong to your husband? The wife is property of the husband. That's what it says. That's what Paul said. Paul didn't say the law done away with, but he really did say this. He said the body of the wife belongs to the husband. So that is through news that our soul belongs to Yahusha. That means we don't belong to Babylon. That means, you know what that means? That means we have came out of her.
Hallelujah.
Let's keep going.
Verse 5. For her sins have reached to the Shamayim, and Alua has remembered her iniquities.
Oh, snap. Keep going. Let's just keep going. Come on.
Verse 6. Render to her just as she rendered to you, and repay her double according to her works. In the cup which she has mixed, mix double for her. In the measure that she glorified herself and lived luxuriously, in the same measure give her torment and sorrow. For she says in her heart, I sit as a queen and am no widow and will not see sorrow. Therefore her plagues will come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she will be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahuwah Alua who judges her.
Man. Whew. This is deep. That's why you cannot have a plan B. Now you see why the Most High said, hey, anything outside of this is death. You see why he said that now? Because you cannot serve two masters. So if you don't belong to Yahuwah, that means you belong to Babylon. So when the judgment rolls on Babylon, you're gonna get hit with that. Just keep going. Verse 9.
Verse 9. The kings of the Eretz who committed fornication and lived luxuriously with her will weep and lament for her when they see the smoke of her burning, standing at a distance for fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, the great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour your judgment has come. And the merchants of the Eretz will weep and mourn over her, for no one buys their merchandise anymore.
Man, they ain't gonna be able to go on them websites and buy that stuff no more. They ain't gonna be able to buy all that stuff. No more. They're gonna be weeping because they ain't gonna be able to buy their merchandise anymore. Let's see what the merchandise is. Let's see. Keep going.
Merchandise of gold and silver, precious stones and pearls, fine linen and purple, silk and scarlet, every kind of citron wood, every kind of object of ivory, every kind of object of most precious wood, bronze, iron, and marble, and cinnamon and incense, fragrant oil and frankincense, wine and oil, fine flour and wheat, cattle and sheep, horses and chariots, and bodies and souls of men.
Well, say that last part. Say the last one again. And what?
And bodies and souls of men.
Y'all see this? So if your soul belongs to Yahuwah, you through. But this is what happens to whose souls belong to Babylon. This is what happens. Babylon was built on the back of slavery, of slaves. For they have purchased souls of men. They have purchased bodies and souls of men. So the soul is even deeper because that goes back to the pornography. That goes back to your desires, being captivated by Babylon, being overtaken by Babylon. So pornography is just one of them, but it's a whole lot of. But it goes long. It goes far. It goes into the entertainment. It goes into the food. It goes into every aspect, even the video games, everything. The sports, the ways of Babylon, the lifestyle, everything. It's captivating, and Babylon is a specialist at capturing the souls of men. To where your nefesh is the seat of your desires and your emotions. That's why, remember when the children of Israel, when they were in the wilderness, when they said it's better in Egypt, It was because Egypt had their soul. You know that because they started talking about soulish stuff. Man, they got leeks and melons there. Their desires, the food. Man, it was better in Egypt. So y'all remember what we talked about last week about the white horse. Revelation 6, it says, now I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard one of the four living creatures saying with a voice like thunder, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a white horse. He who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him. And he went out conquering and to conquer. And we talked about what that means and how that's related to us. It's about us. It's about Yahusha, but it's about Yahusha and his people, because when you go skip to chapter 19, then you see the white horse again. Now I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. And he who sat on him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he judges and makes war. His eyes were like a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. He had a name written that no one knew except himself. He was clothed with a robe dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Alua. And the armies and the Shamaim, clothed in fine linen, white and clean, followed him on white horses. That's about us. The armies of Alua who follows Yahusha, going conquering and to conquer. This was a revelation the Most High revealed. Now out of his mouth goes a sharp sword, that with it he should strike the nations. Declarations, worship. And he himself will rule them with a rod of iron. He himself treads the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Alua. And he has on his robe and on his thigh a name written, Melech HaMelachim and Adon Adonim. Did I say that right? Adon Adonim. And just like Yahusha, out of his mouth goes a sharp sword. That's because through declaration and proclamation and through prophecy and things like that, that's how his people go to war. That's how his people go to war. Like, man, declarations are weapons of mass destruction. The declarations of Yahuwah are weapons of mass destruction, y'all. He went out being called the Word of Alua. It says the word is sharper than any two-edged sword. That means that it's like the best of the best as far as weapons. So going on the vision that Nathaniel had, very deep, very deep. Because we talked about the fiery serpents while we. So look what Mark 16 says, verse 17. He said, this is Yahusha talking. He said, and these signs will follow those who believe. Now, what does believe mean? Remember we talked about that? Let's see if somebody can tell me. What does believe actually mean? Go ahead, Yirmiyahu. If you believe in Yahusha, what does that mean? You really doing?
Didn't you say it means like having your eyes set on them or like being focused on them, basically?
Yeah, that's through. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. So remember it said, John 3:16, it says, those who believe in me shall never perish. Shall have something like that, shall never perish but have everlasting life. But the context of John 3:16 was the bronze serpent. Yahusha said, just like the bronze serpent was lifted up, so shall the Son of Man be lifted up. And then he goes into the John 3:16, that whoever believes in me shall not perish, but have everlasting life. So what he's showing you is that believing in him actually means that you're focusing on Yahusha. That's what believing, keeping your eyes fixed on Yahusha. Is that jogging y'all memory? Okay, that's important to get that part to understand the rest, what we got to say. So, and these signs will follow those who believe. Now we know what believe really means. See what I'm saying? In my name, they will cast out demons. If you going and you trying to cast out a ruach and your eyes is not, and you're not focusing on Yahusha, you think that's like you. You got power to cast out a ruach. You gonna get toe up. You gonna get toe up. For real. But if you go in the name of Yahusha and you focusing on him as so much so that Yahusha's in you, and you're going in as an extension of Yahusha, you're going in as an ambassador of the kingdom to cast out a ruach, that's not going to come out. It's going to come out. Like they have to, because they're going to see Yahusha as soon as you step up. They're going to be terrified, and they're going to come out. You'll probably be tripped out the first time that happens. You'll be like, oh, snap, man. I got some power. Don't do that. It's Yahusha. It's not you. It's not you. Because Yahusha, he'll help you to see that. He'll remind you of that real quick if you get beside yourself and you think it's you. You know what I'm saying? They will cast out demons. They will speak with new tongues. That's what we see is happening now. Most of us were not doing this part when we first came into the tribe. They will take up, now this is the interest. They will take up serpents. So this is how you will know what they mean by this. They will take up serpents, and if they drink anything deadly, it will by no means hurt them. That's how you know the context of this is dealing with poison. Dealing with poison. So basically what they're saying is they'll take up serpents, and the serpent's not going to be able to do nothing to them. They won't be, basically, in other words, poison won't be able to do nothing to them. You see what I'm saying? It will by no means hurt them. They will lay hands on the sick and they will recover. These are the signs that follow the people of Yahusha. So then, this is another reason why you know what Yahusha's talking about here, because you got an example with Paul. It actually happened. When Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, a viper came out, and because of the heat, and fastened on his hand. So when the natives saw the creature hanging from his hand, they said to one another, no doubt this man is a murderer whom though he has escaped to sea, yet justice does not allow to live. But he shook off the creature into the fire and suffered no harm. However, they were expecting that he would swell up or suddenly fall down dead. But after they had looked for a long time and saw no harm come to him, they changed their minds and said that he was a lure. Now think about Nathanael's vision. Wasn't he surrounded by fire? Wasn't it fire involved? Didn't he get hit by the fiery darts in the hand? He said he got hit in the hand. Paul shook it off and threw the serpent, and the serpent flinged off in the fire. You could just see Paul too. You could just see he get bit, but because his eyes is focused on Yahusha, it ain't nothing. It's just like, oh man, and kept doing the work. And everybody like, oh snap. Being hit in the hand by a fiery dart from the enemy. It's about trying to keep you from doing the work. Things trying to keep you from, your hand is about your actions. That's why you're supposed to bind the Torah as a sign upon your hand, and it should be frontless between your, y'all remember that? That's been a while. It should be as a sign upon your hand, and it should be as frontless between your eyes. So that's the connotation of it being in your mind, your thoughts, and in your actions. So with you getting hit in the hand, it was something trying to keep you from being about action. And that happens all the time, man. Like the Most High shows you to do something, and then you ready to do it, and then you get hit by a word, a dart, boom. You're not good enough to do that. What? You say you're gonna do what? You can't even. And now you being hesitant to acting on what the Most High told you to do. You're now procrastinating on action because you just got hit in the hand by a dart, by a word, by a discouraging word. It don't even have to be a word from somebody physical. It can be man, half the time he will implant a thought in your heart, man. You'll just be chilling, and then now you got this negative thought about yourself, and you're like, man, look, man, I shouldn't do this. Or this is, hey, y'all, this is the biggest one. This is Hassatan's oldest trick. The Most High gives you a word to tell you to do something, and now you got this thing in your heart. Did the Most High really say that, though? Did he really say that? For real. That's what he did to Eve in the garden, didn't he? Y'all done had that before. Most High told you to do this. He told you to do that. He told you to maybe start this business. He told you to maybe call me and tell me something. Call me about a word you got or something. And then you're about to do it, and then right before you're about to do it, you start getting a little bit of anxiety. And now that anxiety done opened you up for a ruach now. So now that ruach done boom. Did Most High even really tell you that? Did he really say you need to do that? Did he really say you should start that business? That's just your own mind. What if that's just your own mind? What if you do this and then it all fails? You know what? The statistics say that 40% of these businesses fail. You start looking at all that foolishness. You looking at statistics and stuff. Like whoever cared about that. Looking at analytics and stuff. And that just makes you that makes you really hold back on your action. Once you start looking at all that stuff, now you're looking at analytics, statistics, now you're looking at reviews. Oh snap, now you're looking at YouTube videos from people who failed at doing what the Most High told you to do. Now your hand done got shot up. You ain't trying to do nothing now. And the Most High told you to do that. But if you the whole time, if you wasn't looking at the YouTube, but if your eyes would have been focused on Yahusha, none of that would have went down like that. You might have would have got hit in the hand, but you would have shook it off, and you would have kept it moving. Might have would have hurt a little bit, you would have been because your eyes was fixed on Yahusha. You see what I'm saying? Because this is we gotta talk about what Yahuwah was speaking today, y'all. We gotta talk about this, man. This is just from a random website. A sheep immune to snake venom. Yahuwah said, "You are my sheep." There was multiple witnesses. Yahuwah said, "You are my sheep. You are my sheep." What does that really mean? He's our shepherd. I actually heard some of the tongues. I actually was able to interpret some of the tongues because I was sitting right by Hadassah before she started speaking in English, and I heard Rohi. I heard him talking about being as a shepherd. Sheep have a natural immunity to what? Pit viper venom. But when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, came out of the heat and bit him in the hand. He survived because he's of the sheep. That's why Yahusha said, "These are the signs who follow those who believe me, because they're my sheep." Now look at this. If you were bitten by a rattler, the anti-venom you would take was made inside of the sheep's stomach. The sheep's stomach contains a special enzyme that breaks down the venom. The sheep is the only animal that can make this enzyme. And it is found where? In there? In there? It's in the fish.
Wow.
It's in there in the fish. That's your belly. So So the Most High had put something inside them to where they can get bit, and they can get bit and they through. It won't kill them. The venom won't. Now, once we get sheep and stuff like that, you don't want to just be like, oh man, he cool, he got bit by a snake, he all right. No, because you still got infections, you still got things like that. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a tube shepherd, fam. But generally speaking, the point is the Most High put something inside their belly. Impartation to where they can endure a venom. They can endure venom. The Most High was saying, man, there's some windows that's going to be opening, and you're going to need it in order to what? Be able to get through what's coming, to be able to endure. That's all the stuff he's been putting in us, the impartations, the different things like that, is so that we can handle what's coming. It's so that we can handle temptation, so that we can get bit and it don't hurt. A lot of people, they're not going certain words, they're going to, Yahuwah has imparted immunai into you to the point where people will come and shoot fiery darts, but you should be able to actually, you might get hit. I mean, it'll hurt. But you should be able to walk away, though, without getting killed. People be coming with rapid fire. You this and that, you this and that. Oh, you the cold, you don't take all that rapid fire. And it might hurt, but you'll be able to walk away. You still gonna serve Yahuwah, though. You know what I'm saying? But y'all got to understand that that comes from immunizing some things that the Most High put inside of you. Things that he's put inside of you in the flesh, things he have imparted in you through these impartations to where you can weather those things. Somebody else will be wavering after anything like that, an onslaught like that. Be like, man, maybe I should this is just too much.
Rebirth of a nation. Hebrew kingdom building.